The First Descendant is a third-person free-to-play looter shooter made by Nexon, and with it came the high expectations for it to thrive in a space where live service free-to-play looter shooters is being heavily dominated by the titans known as Destiny 2 and Warframe. And as someone who's played Warframe for a very long time, the First Descendant is not much of a stranger when I got my hands on it for the first time. And if you yourself are a Warframe veteran, the First Descendant probably felt very similar to you as well. This game borrows a lot of core mechanics from Warframe, and in this video I'm going to break down how exactly these core mechanics compare and differ from each other. And without further ado, let's get started with number 1. So starting with number 1, we got Orkan Catalyst, Reactor, and Forma. In Warframe, an Orkan Catalyst and Reactor serve as a way to double the amount of mod capacity you can have in your Warframe or weapons. This allows for more creative ways for you to build your characters and weapons due to more mods that you can apply to them. A Forma is a type of material that you apply to either your Warframes or weapons, and it allows you to reduce a singular mod slot cost by 50%, depending on the shape that you apply to it. In the First Descendant, you have both an energy activator and a crystallization catalyst. Both of these function literally the same as in Warframe. The only difference here would be that in Warframe, there are 2 different types of materials to double your mod capacity. One for your character, one for your weapons. In the First Descendant, an energy activator can be used for both characters and weapons. A crystallization catalyst is the same as a Forma in Warframe, and there is no difference between these 2 materials besides their appearance and crafting time. Now when it comes to crafting these materials in Warframe, an Orkan Catalyst / Reactor and Forma all take 24 hours to fully be crafted. And in the First Descendant, an energy activator takes 1 day and 6 hours to fully craft, and a crystallization catalyst only takes 7.5 hours to be fully crafted. Number 2. Character abilities and stats. In the First Descendant, characters have 3 skill abilities, 1 ultimate and a passive ability. This is also true for Warframe, and there are no exponential differences between the 2 games. Both games also have their characters be given a status element for the most part. This is mostly a given throughout its starting point for both games, and I wouldn't be surprised if later in the First Descendant's lifespan, they branch out into a more creative way into designing their characters that doesn't revolve around status elements. This is true for Warframe, and I expect it for the First Descendant. Number 3. Weapon loadouts. The weapon loadouts in the First Descendant is fairly simple. 2 normal weapon slots and 1 heavy weapon slot. In Warframe, you have 2 normal weapon slots and a melee slot. The First Descendant does indeed have a melee button, but it's nowhere near as complex as Warframe's melee system that includes combos. Number 4. Prime and crafting time. In Warframe, there are an upgraded versions of its original counterpart for both weapons and characters known as Prime. In the First Descendant, the equivalent of Prime would be the ultimate variant. Both of these are essentially the same weapon or characters, but with a slight better stats and a cooler default appearance. And also note that in the First Descendant, the ultimate variant is only for the characters and not weapons. The weapon hierarchy works similar to that of Destiny, having legendary and exotic weapons. Crafting in both the First Descendant and Warframe are one of the game's main way of obtaining new weapons and characters. However, the time differences between these 2 games are actually quite different. In the First Descendant, it takes 8 hours to craft a character component, and it takes 16 hours for the main character to complete. In Warframe, it takes 12 hours to craft a Warframe component, and it takes 3 days exactly to craft the Warframe itself. Now for an Ultimate Descendant, it takes 18 hours for a character component, and 1 day and 12 hours for the character itself. In Warframe, the Prime variant still takes 12 hours for the components and 3 days for the character itself. As for the weapons, in Warframe it takes 12 hours to craft the Prime weapon, while in the First Descendant it only takes 4 for the exotic weapons. Number 5. Relics and Eidolons. In Warframe, you can acquire a relic key from various missions that contain components for you to build your weapons and characters. In the First Descendant, there are these amorphous material patterns that you can get from missions that work pretty much the same as a relic key. In Warframe, once you get one of these relics, there are special missions that you need to do in order to use these keys, and they have a certain chance to get an individual item. In the First Descendant, the way you use these material patterns is that you need to take down a Colossus and avoid intercept mission to crack open the key and gain the reward from it. Now there is something I wanted to say about these Colossus, in that they resemble a lot like Eidolons in Warframe. Eidolons are massive alien type creatures that spawn at night in the open zone in Warframe, and similarly to the First Descendant, Eidolons can only be taken down by shooting their weak points. So yeah, that's about it guys. Both Warframe and the First Descendant are very similar when it comes to grinding and building your characters and weapons. But just like how Warframe took many years to fully flesh out their identity, and is now one of the best free-to-play games out there is no doubt that the First Descendant can also do the same. So yeah, thank you so much for watching the video. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. And also, let me know if there were other things that I missed down in the comment section below. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next time.